visiting the mirror modifier. In this video you will learn how to use another object as the point of reflection. You're going to understand that it is the origin itself that acts as the point of reflection, and finally see other objects' rotational values change the axis of reflection. So let's hop straight on over into Blender. Okay, so over in Blender, the first thing I'm just going to do, you don't have to follow me about, but I'm actually going to maximise the screen just to get a little bit more space on the screen for you. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is show you this axis of reflection. So we need an object to mirror, and I'm going to use our scene here. I'm going to just hide a couple of things. I'm going to hide the backdrop and the camera and the lamp. So it's just the basics that are in our scene. Okay, now we've done that. If we go ahead and add a new object, it doesn't matter, well, I want to put it over here. So I'm just going to click over here. I'm going to adjust those 3D cursor values. So let's find the location of the 3D cursor. Scroll down a little. Location, I want X and Y to be whatever they are, but, oh no, I want Y to be 0 along here. I want it to sit on the X axis itself. And the Z to also be 0. There we go, that's much better. So we're going to create an object over here, and let's actually add a mesh object, and let's add a monkey. That's very, very big, and I'm going to scale the monkey right down. Okay, so we're going to use Suzanne here, the monkey, as basically our object that we're going to reflect in our mirror. So let's go straight ahead and add the mirror modifier. So I'm going to go to the wrench, add a modifier, and down here under generate, we've got mirror. Okay, and so currently it's reflecting in the X, Y, and Z axis, and it's reflecting about itself. Now it's actually reflecting about the origin. So if we were to center the cursor, so I'm just going to hide that render box that we placed on the screen before. There we go, it's out of the way. And I'm just going to click somewhere else, just over here. And in object mode, I'm going to go here and set origin to 3D cursor. And the moment we do that, you can see that all of the mirror modifier's axis down here, it's changed where they were. Before it was right on top, and afterwards it's here. So we can use another object as a point of reflection. So the last option here on the mirror modifier is mirror object. Now if we have a look at our lamp base, its origin is smack bang in the middle of it. And that's absolutely fine, that's what we want. So I'm going to grab Suzanne here with the mirror modifier and set the mirror object as the lamp base. There we go, excellent. It's reflected on both sides, and that's going to become very handy. The last thing to cover is how an object's reflection is also based upon this object, the mirror object down here, based upon its rotation. So sometimes you can end up with some funny stuff happening. So if I'm just going to uncouple the lamp base for the moment, so we're reflecting around the monkey's own origin, Suzanne's own origin. If I now go to the lamp base and just rotate it 45 degrees on the y-axis, let's just say, so it's tilted like that. Now if I go back to Suzanne and mirror object, set it as the lamp base, we end up with a completely different reflection to what it was before. So you can see there how the mirror modifier can be very powerful, but it can also be confusing at times, because if you have rotated an object and then you decide to use it as a mirror object, you may, in fact, so if I go and rotate that all the way around, you may find you need another axis selected when it would have been a different one if you just used the, in this case, the object's own origin. Of course, if you wanted a monkey on either side of here, what you could always do is clear that. I'm going to center our scene with Shift and C. Oh, the plane's still in the scene. I'm going to use the number pad full stop to come back into our scene. Now the cursor's in the center, we're going to set the origin of the monkey, which is fine, to the 3D cursor. And now it's reflecting around there. So if we wanted it on the x-axis, we've got that there. However, with the And we could achieve a very similar thing with the lamp base if we set it to the lamp base here. Let's go to the lamp base, etc. Rotate it in the y-axis by minus 45. There you go, you're back to the same thing. So one way of doing it is moving the origin. One is to use the another object's origin, essentially. And of course, they've both got their benefits. You don't want to start using a mirror modifier and moving an origin outside if you're also going to use that origin for something else. So there are a couple of things in Blender that do use that origin, one of which is pivot points, scaling, proportional editing, physics, etc, etc, the list goes on. So sometimes you will want, if all you're doing is mirroring something and it has no other application, fine, move the origin quickly, you can always move it back again later on. Alternatively, I would use another object's origin. Again, if you go and move that object later on, say we're looking at this lamp base and it's not symmetrical, and we go and rotate it around the z-axis, well, look what happens there. That could cause some problems if you decide to rotate that round, especially if you were moving it or animating it. Other objects that were based upon this may indeed start to go a bit funny. Now, of course, you can create a mirror empty or a plane and hide it. It's entirely up to you there. There's always going to be more than one way of doing something like this. Okay guys, it's challenge time. I would like you to build up the lamp stem and the first arm. So make the joint at the top of the stem. I'll be using a Boolean modifier and the union setting to make it one piece. Then finally use the mirror modifier for generating two arms coming out of our stem. These two arms will be a separate object. And just to give you an idea of where I'm going, of course your design might be slightly different, so you may have to modify these instructions to your model. But these are the front view and side view of the lamp that I'm going for, or that I'm going to try and go for. So we've got the stem on the screen, coming up, splitting into what I can only call a tuning fork type shape, and then finally the two arms, or actually there's only one object, and we've used the mirror modifier, and I've set the mirror modifier against the base there in order to generate the other arm. So pause the video now and give that a go. Welcome back, let's hop straight on over into Blender. Right, so I've opened up the file as it was when we started, so we just get rid of all the Suzannes and any other changes that I've made to our scene. So the first thing I'm going to do is just hide a couple of bits and bobs that I don't want on anymore. The lamp can go, yeah. The lamp base can stay, the lamp rig can go, and plane can go as well, because that plane is a light. In fact, I've still not moved that. I'm going to nest that under lamp, so I know it's out of the way. Right, and got to remember, of course, to bring that back later. Anyway, to the task at hand. First thing I'm going to do is place the 3D cursor on top of our stem and make sure that it's at 0, 0 on X and Y coordinates. Next, I'm going to add a cube to our scene. So, and it is in object mode, that's important at this point. Cube. Far too big, so we're going to scale it in. I'm just going to do this to eye for the moment, or by eye, because I do want two bits either side of this. So I'm happy with that being the center gap by the looks of things. So I'm going to hop into edit mode and just test. I want it face select. Oh, I'm a bit too close, there we go. And I'm just going to extrude, thinking about this way being forward, so I'm going to extrude along the x-axis here. I'm going to extrude and just see how far that comes out. Looking at the lower corner there, about 0.3 or so. Okay, so if I type that in, 0.03 there, here, extrude by 0.03. Excellent. Now I can scale the entire model. Ooh, not there, so everything. I'm going to scale it on the y-axis only. And we can see some artifacts happening here, and this is what can happen if you're working with a model too small. If it was much smaller than this, it would be impossible to work with. So there we go, that's that there. So I'm going to have to find the stem. So I'm just going to select the stem actually. Go to the modifiers, add a modifier, a Boolean modifier. Oh, and we want a union between that and the cube. Okay, something weird has gone on there. Let's just do that again and make sure I've got everything selected that I want selected. So let's go into the lamp rig, which is where that's hidden, and the cube is on top. That's fine. Stem, add modifier, a Boolean, and we're going to go for a union with the cube. Okay, now that's a bit weird. Something funny's going on here. I'm going to pause the video and just see what's going on. Okay, so something weird's going on here. I'm literally going to save my file, just in case there's a bug going on. And I'm going to shut down Blender. There we go. I'm going to reopen our animated lamp. Excellent. And I'm just going to try doing that again. So with the cube, a union. Okay, so I'm just going to remove the cube completely from our scene. And I'm just going to whack another cube on really quickly. So in object mode, mesh, cube, scale it in. Okay, I'm now going to select this one. So a union with the cube again, and press apply. Okay, very interesting. So it seems that something was causing some sort of geometry screw up, basically, was causing the two things not to be unioned at all. So I'm just going to undo that operation. It could have been a bug in the program at some point. Crazy stuff going on there. I'm going to edit this cube before and scale it in on the x-axis to about there, I think. And then I'm going to extrude out here by 0.03. Your numbers may be different, by the way. Don't have to copy exactly what I'm typing in here. So I'm going to extrude here by 0.03 again, because then these bits here I can extrude up into our tuning fork. I'm not sure on the size or anything. We can always go back and change that later. Okay, now I've done that. Select the stem. Now, select the stem, give it a union object with our cube, and click apply. So now when we hide our cube, excellent. That's exactly what I wanted it to do in the first place, and it wasn't doing it. I honestly, I do not know why. I think there was a complete bug, so I had to restart that whole bit again. So don't panic if that happens to you. And I've finally just deleted that old cube from the scene. So now we've cracked that, which should have been a very straightforward part of the video. We're going to add in our arms. So I'm going to click on this face here. So first of all, I'm going to go into edit mode on the stem. I'm going to go in face select, which I'm in. I'm going to select this face here. I'm going to use Shift and S to move our 3D cursor to the selected, and it will automatically go to the center. I'm now going to add, or come out of edit mode and add a plane. So we're going to build this arm from a plane, and let's make it a little smaller. Let's make the radius 0.03. Seems what a lot of the others seem to be at the moment. I'm going to set the let's just have a look at the axes here. I'm going to set the Y rotation to 90 degrees. And that might have flipped it the wrong way for us. I'm going to do -90. Yeah. See, the colour difference there was basically I'm going to end up having to flip normals if I hadn't have done that. And let's see if I can get away with a 45-degree rotation on the x-axis as well. No, that's not going to do what I want it to do. So I'm going to add that plane again. I didn't mean to come away from it. And it was just 90 degrees, -90 on the y-axis. -90. Brilliant. I'm going to then just rotate that around the x-axis by 45. Perfect. I'm going to extrude out. So let's go to edit mode, extrude out by 0.03. And I don't need extra geometry here, so I'm not going to extrude from this point. I'm literally just going to move. and I think it's the X, no, it's going to be the Y axis, but not like that. Another press on the Y. Oh no, is it Z then? No, it must be X. Great. So on the X axis, but pressing X twice means that I'm going along the local axis. So finally, I don't know how long that is, so with the face still selected, I'm going to hop into orthographic mode and move around to the side. I think that can be a little bigger, so X, X, there we go. And of course you can edit this to your heart's content at any point in the future as well. And there we go, that's our arm created. Now I know that later on in this scene, I'm just going to clear that red border for the moment. I know later on in this scene I'm likely to be animating it, and I'm going to be moving this base. So setting the mirror point for the mirror modifier to this base I don't think would be a good idea, or any other moving part. In fact, in this case, I'm going to create an empty and use that as a reference point. So I'm going to create an empty, which one should I choose? I'm just going to use a plain axis, and I'm going to, I wanted that to be at 0, 0, 0, and I can do that here, 0, 0, 0 in the operator panel, perfect. And I'm going to nest that empty. I'm going to call it something first. I'm going to call it mirror axis. And I'm going to set that as a child of the, not the stem, sorry, this plane 001, because that needs to be called lower arm. There we go. Oh, I've got caps lock on. Let me turn that off. Lower arm. So finally we're going to add a modifier, a mirror modifier to that arm. Being blind, there we go, mirror modifier. I'm going to select the mirror object as the mirror axis. Oh, and I don't even have to select any other things, the x-axis is already ticked. Perfect. How did you guys get on? Please share in the discussions, and I will see you in the next lecture.